Hey friends, Allison here. Welcome back to my channel. I have another October Daily 2022 layout to share with you today. It is once again a double page layout and it measures 4 by 8¼ inches. I utilized my Cricut once again to create this layout. I had to play with it for a little bit just to get it to the place that I liked it so that it looked the best. So there is a mixture of drawing with the Cricut, die cutting. You can see the little word bubble that has the word cheers in it. I assembled those, had to put them together. I just used liquid glue to do that. And then little blue hearts. You'll see little blue hearts throughout this layout. I used cardstock that I have in my stash from Close to My Heart, so I'll be sure to link that down in the description box. I also used textured white cardstock as well for the layout base, and then I printed my photo at home, so that makes up the second page, technically the first page of this double page layout. I also utilized the draw and cut function using the Cricut. So the little volleyballs that are on this layout as well, they'll be on both pages, was drawn first with the Cricut and then cut out. And actually same with the white panel. I drew the number 3 on it and then also added a little phrase that says for volleyball above the heart and speech bubble at the top of the white cardstock base. All of that was drawn first and then cut with the Cricut. So as I was chattering along, I pulled out some phrase stickers from Ellie Edwards. I used these white ones. The phrase that I pulled off the sticker sheet said some good things or something along those lines. You'll see them in the close-ups at the end of the video. I also added another little heart to that cluster down at the bottom. And then of course I added my journaling in the middle of the page. I followed the same recipe that I have throughout my entire album, that is making a text box in the middle of the page using a T-square ruler and my craft mat just to make sure everything is evenly spaced and straight. Went over it with a pencil first, then took a journaling pen, wrote in my journaling, covered up those lines for the most part. I will go later on and erase them all so they don't show up in pictures, or if you're flipping through my album, seeing it that way too. It's just one of those things that you don't want seen. So I have one more image to assemble that I'd cut with my Cricut. This is a little phrase that says hip hip hooray. I also offset this image so that it would cut with a little bubble behind it. That was the best way that I could make this cut file work. I didn't like the way it looked converted to a draw image, and the converting it to print and cut made it look like a blob and was not very nice at all. So I die cut it in the traditional sense and then obviously have to assemble all the pieces. So they were cut from multiple colors of cardstock. When you're cutting with your Cricut, it separates all your mats by the color that you have chosen or assigned to whatever image that you're cutting. You have the freedom to do that. It does not have to stay the grayscale color that all of the images, for the most part, come in. So I edit all of that. Choose the color scheme for the layout that I want, and then I run with it. So each of the mats, when I cut them, appears in the color that I have chosen for each of those images. I hope that makes sense. So I used gray, light blue, navy blue, and then the little bubble around it all is textured white cardstock. I did save the little dots for both of the eyes as well. I made sure not to lose those because they were itty bitty tiny pieces and they get lost very, very easily. If that ever happens to you, there are other ways around it. You could use stickles if you have stickles in your stash, sequins, even little enamel dots if they are small enough. So not all is lost if you do lose those little pieces. Luckily, I didn't this time. Now I'm just trying to figure out where to put this little phrase. In hindsight, I wish I hadn't put it right in this spot, because when I went to punch the holes in this layout, the P in hip, the second hip, kind of disappeared, because one of the holes that I punched just happened to be right in that spot. But I really liked it in this area because you could still see the volleyball of the girls while the girls were playing, and it didn't cut anything out of the layout that I thought was important. If you haven't been able to tell already, this layout is about extracurricular sports. My daughter is playing volleyball this year and had an absolute blast. Here's the close-ups. Thank you so much for joining me today, friends. I hope my layout inspired you, and I hope you enjoyed the videos that I've been sharing with you. If you do, give me a thumbs up and a like, and I will be back again soon with more inspiration. Bye, friends.